Welcome, my strong and flexible friends. We're going to be doing a lower back pain session today, or lower back rehab session, if anything. I'm basically going to take you into the gym and show you what I would do, or what I would do with a client if they were struggling with lower back pain. They literally just got off the sofa and they want to start getting back to their work, getting back to their hobbies that they love, and start doing normal things again. So it's going to be off the cuff content, and we're just going to move through that session, talk about why it's important to regain strength, to calm the nervous system down, and then to regain the range of motion in our spine that has been lost through this pain and dysfunction in our lower backs. Before I get into this first exercise, I want to talk about the most important thing when you've injured your back, and it's going to sound a little bit unimportant, to be honest. It's the ability to relax. You've injured your back, you've had to drop out of work, you've maybe spent a week on the sofa, you have had to stop your hobbies, you're walking about the house like the hunchback of Notre Dame, you might have to use painkillers for a short period of time. You are freaking out, you're thinking to yourself, am I ever going to be able to get back to full function? And I'm here to tell you that you will get back to full function. I have seen some pretty crazy lower back injuries over the years. I touch about this in my podcast. If you ever want to check the podcast out, it's on Spotify, Strength and Lengthen. But on the podcast episode, I talked about lower back issues where a guy I seen before had to get gas and air, had to be took off in an ambulance. Another guy had to be admitted to hospital on painkillers, and his whole body was in spasm for a few days. And the only way to prevent the spasm, I had to just bring his knees up to 90 degrees and hold him there because his whole body was just vibrating. And these two individuals are the worst cases of lower back pain I've ever seen, and they've got back to their jobs full time, and they've got back to the hobbies that they know and love. So if that's you, don't worry, your lower back will free up again if you follow appropriate protocols and strategy, and you actually start to look after yourself. What's the first exercise you perform? A nice simple exercise you perform is a glute bridge, and we'll talk about why. So scapula, shoulder blades, bottom of them on the bench. I like to put my elbows up as well if there's no weight, because we're going to start initially with a bit of body weight, and we literally just send the hips up and we squeeze the life out of the glutes. What I would do here is put a little bit of palpation, so you're basically just tapping the lower back. What do you feel? You feel the musculature of the lower back firing up like crazy. And if this is comfortable, we wrap it out. It should feel good. And if it feels too easy, what you can do is swap over one leg at a time. Squeeze at the top and down. Squeeze at the top. Why this is so fantastic is the lower back musculature is firing up, it's contracting. We're teaching the body that it's okay to fire up again, because during lower back spasms, what is happening is the lower back is tightening up in a protective mechanism. So it's entering a spasm to prevent you from moving and using the lower back because it thinks it's in danger. This way, we're able to fire the lower back up again. We're able to fire the lower back up so that it feels confident enough to do its job, perform its function. And like I said, even if you don't get to the single leg variation, just do two legs. And even if you can't do two legs through a full range of motion because your spine does round slightly here, just hold at the top and squeeze the glutes, palpate the lower back, feel the lower back musculature firing up. And that's all you do. Training your lower back to get strong again should be your number one priority. Look at this. What does every good gym need? A trusty stick or a PVC pipe. So this one here, we're going to place it behind us. And if you've noticed before, whenever you were struggling with lower back pain, or if you know someone who's struggling with lower back pain, it's this rotational aspect that is a nightmare to perform. So what we're going to do is actively teach our body to rotate around. And honestly, if you might not get this far, you might get to here and you'll feel a little bit of a nip. My advice to you is to just take it to that point before it nips, breathe, relax, come back. Rotate the spine round, keeping the spine long. feel a good stretch, and back. Helping us to load the spine up and regain range of motion. This would be just another exercise that I fire in. Nice and simple. Because the spine loves movement. It's not supposed to be rigid. It's only meant to be rigid in a heavy squat or a heavy deadlift when you're trying to create tension. Otherwise, the spine loves range of motion. It's meant to be strong through its ranges. Yeah, nice easy way to regain that range. And as you start to warm up and you start to feel a little bit better, you should get a few extra degrees of range of motion. But if you don't go as far as I am, that is okay. There is other advanced variations of this too. If you're like me here and your lower back feels pretty good and you want to use a little advanced variation to get a few extra degrees, you can do a contract relax technique. So you bring it to that rotation, squeeze the obliques, contract, contract, contract for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come up, boom, a few extra degrees. Look at that extra range. Hold for a second. Flex the spine, squeeze the obliques for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back up, exhale, and then hang out in that new created range for a few seconds. And that's what you can do with a trusty PVC stick, a wee pipe. If you haven't got any of these, bring your mop to the gym. And the biggest aggravator would be our flexion, our spinal flexion. So we need to regain confidence. We need to regain spinal flexion. A nice way to entice spinal flexion is to place our lower backs against a wall or surface, and we can teach our lower back how to stay in contact with this surface and independently flex our vertebrae. So it round, right down to the bottom. That's a nice way of teaching our back how to round again. Obviously, you might not get that deep initially, but using the surface, bend your knees slightly, drive your hips into the surface. Hands are placed on the head, on the hips, whatever works, or you can use the pipe to reach out in front of you. What you want to do is begin to round a vertebrae at a time, coming off the surface, and you might only get to here. That's grand. Just come back up. You might feel them little nips, those little aches and pains. Unfortunately, you are still injured and you will still feel little niggles, but that's okay. You just try and work your way through them. Breathe into them. A couple of repetitions. And then the last rep, if it doesn't cause agonizing pain, hang out for a second, squeeze the core, back up. Yeah, very nice. And eventually, you will be able to round right down to the ground, protracting the scapula and fully flexing that spine and rotating it back up to the start position. Unlocking spinal flexion is paramount. We need spinal flexion for almost everything that we do. You need it at the bottom of the squat because, believe it or not, even though if your spine does look vertical, there's still a little bit of rounding going on. We need it to tie our shoes. We need it to pick stuff off the floor. We need it to deadlift. Spinal flexion is the key to life. So unlock spinal flexion with this nice little drill. Whenever you first use this drill, there's obviously more advanced positions you can work up to. You can work up to the likes of your Jefferson's curls, weighted Jefferson's curls without the use of this. You can just do it by standing on a plate or a box to give you a little bit of elevation. That's something that you can work towards in the future so that you're building strength through that full range of motion. Another real easy one is to just hang off shit. But the key with the hanging decompress the spine is you have to kind of tilt the pelvis, because if you anteriorly pelvic tilt, you don't get much from it. So you have to really let the pelvis go, relax the shoulders, and let the hips drop, and let the weight of gravity really just decompress that spine. Starts to feel nice, really, really nice, and it actually helps you build up your grip strength as well. It's a nice little bonus one you can put in your training that's just hanging off stuff. In a hanging protocol, you can just do it as long as you can, time yourself, aim for a minute, and then repeat that 3 or 4 times. Get those lovely decompression effects. But to conclude that session, that's what a lower back pain session would look like for someone who is just getting back into the gym. And we're focusing on regaining strength, regaining range of motion, nice simple stuff. And then we build on that throughout the next couple of weeks. Do that session 2-3 days a week until we start to really build up that strength again. Other factors that you need to keep an eye on whenever you're going through lower back pain is, if you've heard it a million times, your sleep, your diet, and also your stress levels, because your cortisol levels are massive. If you think about it, massively important. If you think about it, when you're stressed, that actually increases pain. So try to relax as much as you can. I said that at the start of the video about not freaking out about where you are and where you want to be, and worrying about the state of your lower back. Just relax as much as you can. You're working on it, and you will get better eventually if you are consistent with your strength training. Yeah. Well, hope you enjoyed this video. We'll be back with plenty more. Any questions, please fire them to my Strength and Length on Instagram or TikTok as well. If you do the session and you have any questions about technical cues, please fire them my way. Send them videos of you doing the drills. I am here to help. I'm here to help you through this journey so we can all be the strongest, most flexible versions of ourselves. Thank you.